Today I want to discuss communication. Here we go. We all need a little refresher, or perhaps you're hearing this for the first time. If you want to be on the same page, communication is very important. And there are so many elements within communication that not everyone is aware of. I just recently went to a psychology developmental class, mostly for my kids, and going to that class, I learned more about myself than I expected. There's just so many things out there that we are unaware of that should be taught to us from the get-go. So what I'm about to tell you is not only going to help with your communication overall, but it's also going to help you when you get into situations where you and the person that you're talking to just can't seem to get on the same page, or you seem to be just on opposite ends, butting heads, can't seem to understand why someone is saying or doing a certain thing, and it's just putting a roadblock in that relationship. It's also going to help if you guys are getting in a heated argument, if stuff starts elevating. You can remember everything that I've told you in this video. It's going to help. It's going to put that at a stop. You're going to be able to take a step back and actually make some headway, domino effect, everything else in that relationship. You're going to be happier. The person in that relationship is going to be happier because your communication is strong, and we all know how important communication is in any relationship. Alright, so what you need to know is that the basics of how our brain works, I'm going to categorize these things in boxes. The first one is the fight or flight, the threatened, spotlight, not comfortable, not safe. If you're in this one, we either feel like we're being threatened or endangered. And this is if you see someone holding their back or their neck like this, because that's around the area that's being activated. You're in that state. It's mostly a good indication that if they're breathing through their chest, not their stomach, that they are feeling uncomfortable, they're in the fight or flight response. You don't want to put anybody in that situation to feel that way. You need to make sure that the other person feels safe, that they can talk to you. Once someone reaches the emotional state, it is very hard to get anywhere. Many of you recognize that when you're in an emotional state, you tend to have word vomit, you tend to spill everything out, everything gets blown out of proportion. Examples: you do this all the time, or you're always saying this. That is you in the emotional state. You're gonna say things that you're gonna regret later, things that you don't mean, because you know that when you say you always do this, that's not true. You're gonna make that person feel guilty, mad, they're gonna be hurt, or they're gonna fight back. It's just, if you're in the emotional state, no good. You need to also step away and let yourself calm down. You need to find your freaking chi, get back to a point where you can discuss with clarity. Okay, so some more important things you need to know about if you or somebody else has reached that emotional state. You cannot reach that third box just yet, which we will discuss in a little bit. In the emotional state, you are purely that. You are emotional. You're not problem solving. You're not thinking with consideration. It's just pure extreme. If you're in this state and the other person isn't, they're in danger of you possibly putting them in the state of not feeling safe. For example, in the emotional state, you can be like, why did you do this? Why are you doing that? You're putting the other person in this defensive mode, like they're being attacked. The whole why, who, what, where, when, if you don't use these correctly, you can make the other person feel cornered. You want to avoid that. Use better word usage and tone, body language. I cannot express how important it is when you feel attacked. You jump into this zone where you need to protect yourself. So it's easier to just lie, like off the bat. In children, I know I did this a lot as a child, but if you say this to a child, like, why did you do that? And they go, I don't know. That is the protective response. That is like, I feel threatened, so I'm going to protect myself and say, I don't know. They're doing this because you put them in this spot of needing to defend themselves. You need to be aware of your words that you use, your body language, and your tone, because it does mean everything. Be self-aware of your words that are coming out. Try to think on it. It is okay if you pause and just think before you speak. I do this all the time. I live in my head, and sometimes somebody has to go, are you still there? Don't take too long in thinking of what to say. Let them know even, okay, I need a second to respond, please. That lets them know, okay, she's quiet because she is actually trying to say what she wants to say, not just standing there in disrespect, not answering it. Maybe they can use that time to also reflect. This is a great tip to have in your relationship, in any relationship. It's great to know when you need to say, we need a pause. Just figure something out where you both have this like code word or signal to let each other know we need to take a pause. And that has helped us so much. That has helped me, because not only does it help with letting my husband know that, okay, I've reached a point where we're not going to get anywhere but down. Discuss this where you both understand what the signal is, what happens after. So if we come up with this word, what happens afterwards? Like, how long do I know until we come back to our conversation? Maybe 5 minutes. I think that's ideal. You can go into a separate room, put that conversation on hold. You need to be able to be in the third box, which now we get to discuss. So let's get into the third box. And this third box is called the executive state, and that's up here. And us parents know this state all too well because we are in it as long as our kids are up and running around. We are continuously firing this bad boy to exhaustion. It's where you are problem solving, you get stuff done when you're in this state. If your child is making a mess, if you're in this state, then you act on it to be productive. Start cleaning, figure out a better way so that this child isn't making a mess. If you're in the emotional state, great. I can't do anything and this child's just going to make a mess no matter what I do. See what I mean? You're not getting anything done in the emotional state. So you need to take a step back, be able to be in that executive state so that you can problem solve. This applies to communication because you can think before you speak. You are also able to put yourself in their shoes. I know this is a lot of information to take in, but I guarantee you, as soon as you start applying it, if you haven't already figured out how this explains certain behaviors or things that you've noticed, it will become secondhand nature. It's gonna prosper. You can do this. I know you can, because when I started learning this, I was running all these different scenarios in my head. I was like, that makes so much sense. That's why my daughter does this. That's why my son needs this. That's why I always say this to my husband. I need to work on this now. It gives you everything that I've gone over. I think it gives you a better focal point of some certain elements within good communication. And those boxes that I was describing to you, those were actually the 3 brain stages to communicating and connecting with other people. The survival state box, where we need to feel safe, that right here is the brainstem. The emotional box, where we need to feel heard and connected, loved, accepted, that's right here, the limbic system. And the third box the executive box where we are problem solving and learning, that right here is the prefrontal lobe. So there you have it. I just like to visualize these as a box because it's much more simplistic. I feel like they need to be viewed as such. You're only going to be in one of those boxes. You definitely can't be in your executive box and the emotional box. Okay, so that is it for today. I have to wrap it up. I want to continue because this is so interesting for me and I love sharing this with you just because of how much it has helped me with communication. I hope you have learned something great from this video. If you have, please like it and don't forget to click on that subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon.